Today's voiceover talent is more than just a pretty voice.
Pretty voice.
Today's voiceover talent has to be a boss.
A boss.
Join us each week for business owner strategies and success with your hosts Anne Ganguzza and Gabrielle Nistico, along with some of the strongest voices in our industry.
Rock your business.
Rock your business.
Rock your business.
Like a boss.
Like a boss.
Rock your business like a boss.
Rock your business like a boss. A VO boss.
A VO boss.
A VO
Boss.
Welcome, everybody, to the VO Boss podcast. I'm your host, Anne Ganguzza, along with my amazing, wonderful co-host, Gabby Nistico. Hey, Gabby.
Hello.
Gabby, I love our new intro.
Right?
We've got a shiny new intro,
Oh,
and on your recommendation, because we want to keep our podcast fresh, right, for our listeners, and I love the whole concept of it because everyone is a boss, and we've got so many people involved in that intro.
Yeah, we did. We kind of did like a social media shout out, and a bunch of you were awesome enough to participate and to send us some recorded copy, and we went ahead and mixed that down. And a huge thank you to Lewis Banks, who is the primary voice that you hear in our new intro outro.
Woo-hoo.
And
Thank you,
you guys so much for being a part of it.
And thank you to, oh my goodness, our amazing friend and colleague, Kelly Stevens, who hosted that intro and outro for almost 2 years now, right?
Almost, yeah.
Almost 2 years. And
Yeah.
we just owe Kelly like a debt of gratitude and sending him all kinds of love for, opening us up to the podcast community and the world, and for his wonderful, awesome voice. And we love you, Kelly. And Lewis, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who contributed to our shiny new podcast intro and outro.
Totally. It's like we just passed the torch,
Gabby, today we are talking with Rob Reese, who is founder and CEO of Warrior Voices, an amazing nonprofit organization whose goal is to provide support, training, and employment for veterans and their spouses in voice acting and voiceover services. Welcome, Rob Reese, to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Wow, Rob, before we even talk about Warrior Voices, you have such an impressive resume and experience in all aspects of voiceover and production. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with Warrior Voices.
Well, I started in radio when I was 17 years old up in a tiny little town called Petoskey, Michigan. And from there, I got into voiceover, voicing, for the station. I'd voice over advertising and different commercials, things of that nature, and that eventually blossomed into a television career. And as far as how Warrior Voices came about, it was January 4th, 2015. About 6:05 a.m., I woke up with the words Warrior Voices in my head and couldn't figure out why I was thinking about those two words. And was getting my daughters ready to go to school and poured a cup of coffee, decided to check my email, and I had an audition request for a voiceover. And that's when the light bulb went on. And I knew right then, Warrior Voices is going to be a U.S. military veteran voiceover agency, and we're going to teach especially disabled veterans. That's our main focus, is to help disabled veterans with this. But within a couple of weeks, we had a board of directors. We had a 501c3 nonprofit status from the IRS within 3 months, and away we went. Since 2015, we have given out over $150,000 in voiceover work to the veterans that are on our talent roster.
Wow.
Wow, congratulations.
So cool. I kind of found you guys, I think, through social media, and I was just blown away. I was like, this has got to be one of the coolest things happening in our industry right now, and more people need to be aware of it. And of course, we wanted to have you on specifically for Veterans Day. Can you tell us a little bit about, what some of these vets are going through, what some of the process looks like with training and just helping them to have this new career?
Absolutely. And we received emails, believe it or not, from veterans all over the world who are living in the Philippines, Vietnam, Germany, and of course, all across the United States. And when they find us, a veteran will email us and inquire about online voiceover academy or voiceover training. And if they're from, let's say, Dallas, Texas, we have a coach down in Dallas, Texas. They begin coaching them. They give them lessons. They teach them mic techniques. Everything we do is free for the veterans. So all of the training, if they need a blue microphone or if they need even a laptop, we'll provide those for them. And then once they've gone through the training, we create a demo reel for them, a voice reel, and we create a talent page. And so they become a Warrior Voice talent upon graduating or being certified as a voiceover talent.
Wow, you are like an all-in-one. That's amazing. Not just education, but also equipment and demo production. You must have quite a team.
We do. We've got, as a matter of fact, Norm Silver is our what we call the head coach. He was a voiceover talent for many years in Hollywood and a very well-renowned voiceover coach as well. And so he created our curriculum, and everyone that's part of our team are either former military or working voiceover artists, or many of us are both. And so we all take turns helping new veterans. We have a pretty good roster right now of working voiceover talent, veterans who've been in the industry for 20 plus years. As a matter of fact, one of our top talent is Dan Wachs, and he's the voice of the Republican National Convention. He's the voice of the Buffalo Bills, the NFL team. So there's and if you see you've looked at our website, we have done voiceover work for some of the biggest companies on the planet, everybody from Microsoft to the NFL to Major League Baseball, and the list goes on. But everything that we do is to create a new career or enhance an existing career for our veterans.
Absolutely fantastic.
In your opinion, what makes voiceover such maybe a suitable career for a veteran?
Well, specifically dealing with those dealing with PTSD, if they're physically disabled, voiceover is something they can do from their home and create an extra, an additional revenue stream. Those with PTSD, depending on the degree that they have it or they're suffering from it, it's difficult for them to work, let's say in a 9-to-5, structure, office structure. So this is something that they can do from home. Everything is done digitally, as you know now. It's a lot of clients will email you a script, you record it, you edit it on your home computer, you upload it to Dropbox, and away you go. You're done. So that's great for those veterans who need something like that where they can work from home. So that's big for them, and it's great because voiceover is not something a lot of people think about as a career. Sure. And as you know, there's so many different, there's a huge range of different types of voiceover that you can do. Everything from radio and television commercials, animation characters. A big one that we have right now, Cisco is one of our big clients. We voice over a lot of educational modules. And, those go out around the world to different techs that have to watch. If they come out with a new software, these techs have to watch these modules. And that keeps a good 6 or 8 of our veterans are on that account alone. Again, it's something that they can all do from home. Everyone has a home studio nowadays, so it fits in perfectly with veterans who are suffering from PTSD or if they're physically disabled.
People don't always realize that military men and women all had specialties while they were serving actively, and that a lot of those specialties can translate to tons of different areas of voiceover. So are you starting to see a little bit of that as well, kind of building up their resumes?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I just mentioned Cisco, and their third-party content creation company is called Enter One, and we have a saying here at Warrior Voices. When you hire a Warrior Voice talent, you're getting military precision, pride, and performance. These guys,
nice.
These men and women, they hit deadlines, they do it right the first time, and they take pride in their work. And with Enter One, within the first 6 months of working with us, they were able to increase their billable hours to Cisco by 20%. And they ended up going, switching a lot of their voiceover needs to Warrior Voices because it's one company that they send scripts to, and we take care of all the talent. And it's very streamlined. And like I said, it's military precision performance and pride. It's phenomenal.
Do you find that you have opportunities to do government work as well?
We started looking into that. We're sort of at a plateau right now where we're putting in for grants and charitable funding, that type of thing, so that we can actually market to different media agencies and hire a couple of extra people. Right now, we're 100% volunteer. Everybody that works on the team of Warrior Voices, we all have our day jobs and our voiceover that we have to do, but we haven't been able to reach out all that well with going after government contracts. The Army, Navy, they all have like deployment videos that they need voiced, and what they do, the branches of the military, they farm that out to third parties, to different production companies around the U.S. So it's all about tracking those guys down and saying, hey, let us do your voiceover.
Sure.
And so it's one of those things where we want to, and we're ready to, and it's just about pulling the trigger at this point. I
know that it's such a process. I myself am registered in a couple of government databases, and it's such a process. So especially when you're saying everything is volunteer, I'd love to help you guys connect up there. I think that would be some good opportunities. That'd be great. Yeah, we definitely appreciate any help we can get right now. We're going up against Voice123.com and Voices.com. Those guys have a pretty good chunk of the market. We are unique at Warrior Voices in the fact that we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So whenever, let's say Big O Tires comes to us and says, we need 3 30-second commercials that are going to run in the Texas market for 3 months. Our budget is $350 per 30-second commercial. Well, first, all the money that they pay, the rate that they pay for that voiceover, 100% of that goes to the veteran. We don't charge a commission. If the client wants to make an additional, let's say a 15% agency fee, the entire amount that they pay becomes a charitable contribution, and so they can actually take that off their taxes as a charitable contribution. It helps them financially as well. That's a great marketing boon for you guys.
Tell us what kind of volunteers you're looking for currently. I know that there's always a need, and I'm sure that I know the commitment that you're putting into this, and it's commendable and massive. But
yes.
I know other people are going to want to help. So what can the voiceover community do right now? What's the best way for us to rally behind you?
We would love to have some additional coaches. We desperately need more female voiceover artists. So that's a big one for us. If we can, we're reached out to a couple of female veteran organizations, and they're putting the word out. So we'll start training hopefully some more women in this field. We can also use people who can produce demos for us. Once we get somebody through the academy and they're ready for a demo, we would love somebody that, demo producers are a big thing because that demo is probably the most important thing that a voice talent can have because that's what gets you your job. So we need some help in that area as well. And then, of course, just getting the word out. We'd like to be able to talk to some of these media agencies, television production companies. We'd love to be able to provide voiceovers for everything from radio and television commercials to audiobook narration, you name it.
That's fantastic. And I think I certainly hope that after this episode airs, you're going to hear from quite a few of our listeners, and people are going to start kind of coming forward and volunteering time. Is there also a way to donate funds? Is that something that's currently part of the structure?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I mentioned earlier that we've teamed up with a gal named Sharita Herring, who's one of the top grant writers in the country. And she is setting everything up for us now to where we can accept. We don't have a GoFundMe page, and she's urging us to do so, to build a GoFundMe page. So we're looking into that. We do take donations via PayPal through our website, and just being able to provide voiceover work. If somebody needs a voiceover for their company, come to us and we'll create work for our veterans. And if you want to make an additional donation on top of that, that's always welcome.
And if there are talent that are out there that are veterans that want to contact you to perhaps maybe be on the roster.
Oh, yes.
How could they do that?
Please. Mm-hmm. Actually, they can contact me direct at robert@warriorvoices.org. And they can visit the site, and if they click on Find a Voice, they'll see what the talent pages look like. If I
recognize some of the talent there, yes.
Yeah, and one thing that our tagline, our slogan is hear their stories, hire their voices. We want to know about our veterans, and that's something that we encourage as well. If you're a Vietnam era veteran, if you're an Iraq War veteran, or if you spent 22 years in the Navy and did a bunch of Westpacks. We want to know what your story is, because what we provide the client is not only your voice, but they get to know you as a person as well, as far as where you served. It gives them an opportunity to thank you for your service, and they feel great because they're supporting and providing work to veterans as well. So hear their stories, hire their voices is a big part of what we do.
Thank you for joining us, but thank you so much for just being a part and having this idea and this amazing organization. I know how much work it is to set up a nonprofit and to do everything that you're doing, especially and all your volunteers and your team. And I think it's just amazing. And I think I speak for Gabby and I, anything that we can do at VO Boss, to kind of help spread the word, help you guys out. I think it's just phenomenal. And thank you for that and for the service that you're providing.
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to there was a point where we knew we were doing something amazing. When we first launched in 2015, we started holding local casting calls for military veterans in our area, and there was one of the first casting calls that we did. We had, I think it was 12 veterans that joined us, and we had a conference room set up, and we introduced them to what a voiceover is, and as we explained the voiceover industry, you just saw these little light bulbs go off over all their heads like, wow, this is great. I didn't know that was a voiceover. Well, we surprised them, and we put them all into a studio, into a recording booth. And we had a template set up for a couple of different types of commercials. One was a Big O tire commercial. And we had the coach in the recording booth with each veteran, and we had them record a script. And, it took 3, 4, 6, 10, 12 takes, whatever it might. And
We've all been there. We know.
I'm still there. That 10, 12, 15, that's a common everyday occurrence. But once as they were recording, we would take the good takes outside the booth and we drop those good takes in that part of the script or that part of the commercial, so that by the time they walked out of the booth, they had, we had a commercial pretty much edited and put together for them. Well, at the end of the casting call, which is about 2 hours, we played each one of the talents, each one of the veterans' voiceovers back to them in the commercial. And the look on their face was just incredible. They couldn't believe that was them. And there was one veteran in particular. He was a Marine who had been blown up in his Humvee by an IED, currently waiting for a liver transplant. This guy was a house of a Marine and still had he's 6'2", just built like a house. And when we played him his commercial, he just didn't click at first. And he was like, that's not me. Yeah, no, Chad, that's you. And he was like, no way. And then it was incredible because he sat there and then that light bulb went off again. And we just saw this look on his face. He goes, I don't think you guys know what you're doing here. And we kind of looked at each other like, excuse me? What do you mean? And he said, no. Let me rephrase that. You guys are doing something so much more than teaching me how to be a voiceover artist. He said, you're creating a community for us again. He said, leaving the service, that's what I miss the most is my brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And he said, I would love to be a part of this and support other veterans who are trying to build their career in voiceover. He said, I have a medical, I get a medical pension. I can only make so much money on top of that. So I would be so happy to donate my earnings, part of my earnings back to Warrior Voices so that you can provide equipment and training to other veterans. He said, this is what I miss the most, and you guys are giving that back to us. And so we realized, we just kind of looked at each other. I mean, this guy was in tears when he told us this. And it just blew us away. And we knew at that moment, Warrior Voices was going to be something big.
I might be in tears. That's
I know.
Yeah.
We were. It was hard for us.
Right?
It was tough. It's pretty much everybody in the room. Here's this big 6'2" guy telling us this, and it definitely affected us.
Oh my goodness.
And I think too, I'd like for our listeners to just kind of contemplate and think on this Veterans Day about what they can do. Even a small donation, a tiny amount of money, it may not seem like a lot, but if all of our listeners are able to give just a few dollars to an organization, Warrior Voices or another veterans organization, it makes a massive impact. And please know that there are VA, Veterans Association hospitals and facilities all throughout the country. Many of them need volunteers, need assistance. My husband and I try whenever possible around the holidays to bring a meal, cater either homemade or as close to homemade as we can from a restaurant, and bring it to some of the hospitals where you have vets that are staying there long term and maybe aren't able to go see their families. It's really important, and it can make such a difference in someone's life, such a small thing.
Absolutely. Rob, tell us again how our listeners can get in touch with you and how to get to the website.
It's warriorvoices.org is our website. And then they can also email me direct at robert@warriorvoices.org. And one thing that we're doing for every day, but in conjunction with Veterans Day, if you are a veteran-owned business, please get in touch with me. We will be happy to, with our students, we'd be happy to provide you with a free voiceover. Anytime you need something like that for your business, a commercial, we could build a commercial for you. Our students will use the script that we create for you, or if you already have one, we'll use that as training. And we'll provide you with probably a number of different voiceovers that you can choose from for your commercial. And we'll provide those for free.
Wonderful.
What you're doing just keeps getting better. I'm so thankful for this and for you taking the time to talk to us today.
Well, thank you.
I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsor who is helping to bring us all together, ipdtl.com. You can find out more on their website.
And for more things Boss, please check out our social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're a pretty accessible bunch. Our website, of course, voboss.com, has loads of different opportunities where you can work with me and Anne direct and find out more about Warrior Voices.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your hosts Anne Ganguzza and Gabby Nistico. All rights reserved. Anne Ganguzza voice talent in association with 3 Moon Media. Redistribution with permission. Coast to coast connectivity via IPDTL.